Yes, guys. Hello and welcome back to another Spurs-related YouTube video and podcast. I hope everyone is doing well. Today, we have a big match in about 2 hours' time, and we are going to preview all the predicted lineups, and maybe the lineup will even be announced while we're live, so we'll bring that to you as well. We've got all sorts to bring you as well to do with transfer news. We'll do a little roundup on that, although not too many updates today. But as you can see, I am joined alongside not Thomas Frank's AI son, as he's my co-host. Billy T is probably thinking, what am I talking about? I'm joined alongside Billy T, more known on Twitter. Bill, great to have you on, mate. It's been a while in the making to get you over on the channel, and I know you're doing the rounds at the moment, but good to have you on, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, man, good to be on. I'm doing the rounds because it's a summer holidays. I'm a teacher, so I got a lot of free time at the moment, so it's good.
Nice.
Another season's back in spring, but pleasure to be on, man. I'm a big fan of your channel, and we've been chatting for years, haven't we? But it's good to finally be on.
Sure, mate. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, good to have you on. And summer holidays. Well, I'll miss those days of having 6 weeks off, man. You're
another
lucky
3
guy.
weeks. I'm buzzing still.
No, let's get into things, guys. If you are joining the stream for the first time, please make sure you hit subscribe. Please make sure you like the video, which does help out massively, of course. There was big numbers in here yesterday, 200 or so of you in the house, and about 3,000 or 4,000 views offline. So really appreciate all the support. Keep hitting subscribe, keep hitting like, and keep hitting the notification bell so you never miss us going live. But Bill, let's get into things. Let's talk about the big game today. I know you told me a minute ago you were a bit nervous for the match. I'm not feeling too nervous. I feel like it's a bit of a, as you said, it is a bit of a free hit. Just initial thoughts on the game, and also we'll get into obviously talking about Cuti Romero. Big news that he was unveiled as the captain today, which was pretty obvious. It was probably the worst kept secret I've ever seen in my life, to be honest. But Billy, how are you feeling about the game, and do you think we can get one over these guys? Because let's be honest, they are pretty good at full flow.
I'm feeling really big about the game. Like, I think it's a massive occasion for us, and I think like when you're a football fan of a club like Tottenham Hotspur, to be involved in a Super Cup final is massive. It's the kind of occasion that you sort of dream of as a fan. And like, obviously, like the big clubs like Real Madrid, Liverpool, Chelsea, they get these occasions quite often, but we don't. This is our first one in 40 years or whatever. We've never actually been in the Super Cup before, so it's a big occasion for us. You have to be a European champion to be in it. It's just a shame that we're coming up with such a good team, to be honest, mate, because I don't know, there's such an unbelievable team that it makes me worried. Like, I think our only hope tonight, as I'm sure we'll get into a bit later on, is fitness, and it's their first game back in pre-season. That's our only factor, because God, they're such a good team, man. I absolutely love watching them in the Champions League. I thought they were incredible. They're just blowing teams away. But these are the kind of occasions that you dream of as a kid, right? Being in this kind of final, European final. So I'm going to enjoy every second of it.
100%, mate. Yeah, exactly that. I don't think we've ever been in a Super Cup final before.
No, we haven't. I don't know. I can't remember why, but there is a reason for it. The two Europa Leagues that we won before, we haven't been in the Super Cup because of it for some reason.
Right. That sounds like the most Spurs stat I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
When we won the Europa League, the Super Cup didn't even cross my mind. I mean, even to be honest, Champions League qualification didn't cross my mind for a few hours after we won it. It was just the fact that we'd won the silverware. So it's always nice having these tokens, these free hits to win an additional piece of silverware, which you could argue is basically the European version of the Community Shield. But I don't care. If we win it, it's the best competition on earth. And if we lose it, it's just a friendly, isn't it, mate? So, it's a win-win all round. But I did pull up a couple of stats, not too promising for us. It says PSG are strong favourites. Well, that's obvious according to the Opta supercomputer. I don't think you need the Opta supercomputer to know that PSG are the favourites for this one. Tottenham are the 8th different English side to feature in the UEFA Super Cup. 6 of the previous 7 won their first ever appearance in the final, with the exception being Arsenal, who lost 2-0 on aggregate to Milan. Love that one. And 11 of the last 12 editions of the Super Cup have been won by the previous season's Champions League winners. I mean, that doesn't bode well, does it, really? I mean, 11 of 12 of the last Super Cups have been won by Champions League winners.
And I feel like sometimes you can get like a Champions League winner that maybe didn't deserve it or something like that, or maybe they scraped through in the final or something like that. But this has not been the case of PSG. They absolutely battered everyone they came across in the Champions League final. I know that they lost to Chelsea in the Club World Cup, but even before that, they easily dispatched Bayern Munich, who we just lost 4-0 to. I think my personal opinion is they're the best team in the world at the moment, and it's a daunting task, man. But strange. If there's one thing that Tottenham can do, it's something crazy. So stranger things have happened before.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I guess at the end of the day, also, like, we weren't expected to see Palace beat Liverpool at the weekend as well, So
exactly that, mate. Yeah, exactly. That.
There is that 11 out of the last 12 is a pretty mad stat. We'll get into predicted lineups. I guess lineups will be out at 6:30 or 7. So if it's 6:30, we'll probably still be live at that point. So we'll get through to that. I can see the numbers are building in the chat, guys. Get your comments in. Do you think we can do this? You're feeling optimistic? Stranger things have happened, like Bill said. We've got a few people in the chat. Simon saying, "Evening, boys," and Kantab saying, "Are we going to teach PSG a lesson, Billy?" What do you reckon?
I'm not sure about that one, mate. But we can only pray, right? We can only pray. We can
pray. Absolutely. Hopefully, we will see. Well, a few significant players take part and sort of stamp their authority really on Thomas Frank's side, because there is when I was reading up about this game and the pre-match write-up, it says, according to Football London, they think that 8 of the players in our 11 are undroppable. Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Spence. It kind of speaks for itself. That will be the back line and the goalkeeper. With Udogie obviously being out. Midfield of Bentancur appears a certainty, and same goes for Palinha. I think the 3 up for debate are all the attackers other than Kudus, because you got to think Kudus is definitely in, but Johnson on the left is a question mark for me. Bill, I don't know how you feel about that. And obviously in the number 10, where we don't really have a number 10, with James Maddison being injured, Kulusevski obviously injured as well. Solanke's just coming back. Anything to add there, Billy, in terms of, who you think will be lining up, and to make this a little bit more simple, I've also brought up what I think will be, well, this is what SofaScore thinks is going to be the lineup, but potential lineup. Be interesting to see if it's Richarlison or Solanke. What out of that 11 worries you, mate? Because for me, Sarr isn't a 10 and Johnson isn't a left winger.
I think to be honest, the whole front four worries me slightly, with the exception of Kudus there, who I think has probably been our best player in pre-season and a star signing. But the rest of them are not really people that I would want to be heading into our Premier League season starting for us in those particular positions. I think Solanke is obviously our favoured striker. He's probably not going to be quite fit to start, and Richarlison comes in. Richarlison's had a pretty poor pre-season. I think he's looked pretty bad in most of the games, and he's probably a player that, I love Richarlison, love his personality. He's probably a player that I'd look to move on. Sarr is not a natural number 10. He's actually had a pretty good pre-season himself and scored most of our goals in pre-season, but I'd much rather him in the 8 position or somewhere else. And then Johnson on the left wing, that's not against the teams like PSG, where you're rarely going to have the ball, and when you do get the ball, you have to try and carry it up the pitch and counter-attack. That's not Johnson's game, really. We know Johnson's game is arriving at the back post and scoring like that, but I don't know how many opportunities we're going to get like that. So I'd be really worried with our front four in this game in particular. I think the only nailed on place there is Kudus. And it wouldn't surprise me if maybe he started with Odobert or Tell on the left instead of Johnson, just because I think we're going to need ball carriers in this game, because the one rare chance that we are going to get are probably going to be counter-attacks. And, Johnson is not good at beating a man one-on-one, as he said himself this season.
You said he said it himself?
He said that's the one thing he wants to get better at this year is beating people one-on-one. Yeah, because he admitted that's something that he's not good enough at. Yeah.
Wasn't there a stat? That's mad. I didn't actually realize he said that. Wasn't there a mad stat that was like he hasn't taken on more than 2 players or something like?
Yeah, it's really
took on more players in his first game than Johnson all year.
And that was the stat. And Kudus' debut, he took on more players than Johnson did all season. And I think obviously we're linked in the transfers to Savinho, who's like one of the best take-on players in the league. Kudus is one of the best take-on players in the league. But And Johnson has got plenty of strengths, and most of them are scoring goals. But take-ons is not something he's good at. So I would worry if he started on the left wing today, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're in the same boat as me with Johnson there. Interesting always that Donna Cullen joins. I still need to find out who this is.
Hi, Donna. Lovely to see you.
I mean, already
my
new guest getting compliments.
That'd be if it was her, that'd be the best thing, I mean, she is retired. She is retired now, isn't she? So she doesn't have anything better to do than watch this. So she might be joining us live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think that's a really good question, Sarr or Bergvall. What do you think, mate? Because my gut feeling would say Bergvall because I think he's more suited to 10. But Sarr's had a good preseason, so
yeah, that's it for me. Like Sarr's obviously scored 3 goals, obviously 1 against Arsenal from the halfway line, and then the 2 against Wickham at the training ground. I just think Sarr isn't a number 10. He's probably a more advanced 8, and I think Bergvall also arguably isn't a 10, but I think he has more attributes that fit the number 10 that would be better for, especially this game. Like, you need that passing range to be able to unlock the wingers and the striker, and I don't think Sarr quite has that. I think Sarr has the engine for an 8, and I think obviously he's had a few good shots and scored a few goals, but you look at him and he's not a 10, is he? He's very much box to box engine. And Bergvall, I think he played quite a few times as the 10 for the Swedish club. Is it Djurgården or wherever he came from? I'll probably pronounce that horrendously wrong. Hopefully there's no Swedish listeners. But yeah, I think, mate, I think in terms of the 10, neither really, because we need to sign a 10.
I think it's a real shame, mate, that we're going into one of the biggest games in our history, our first ever Super Cup, and we haven't signed a 10 before. I think that's a real shame. It's a real missed opportunity, Because Maddison, obviously, no one could predict the Maddison injury, but that was nearly 2 weeks ago now. It's a lot of time to act in the transfer window, isn't it? If you see another big club there, that's enough time to go and sign a number 10. And I know we're linked with 2 really exciting players, but until they're over the line, then it counts for nothing really.
Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%. Yeah, it is a shame. I was saying it on the stream the other day. It's not a surprise that we're sitting here, midway through August, and we haven't signed more than 2 or 3 players. It happens pretty much every window. I'm not going to go off on one against the board. I'm not going to go off on one today on this stream, but it feels like, when those, I mean, you're a teacher yourself, when those kids just don't do their homework till the last minute. It's just Tottenham Hotspur in the transfer window. It always catches up with us when it's the start of the season. We're like, because mate, I wouldn't even be surprised if but Burnley on Saturday isn't for me.
I've just been saying the same thing, man, because they're going to have the nastiest low block against us. You can imagine, like, they're insane and defending, so it's not going to be easy. And just imagine going into this game now with Eze as number 10. It'd be a completely different ball game, wouldn't it? But that's our club, and we're used to it over the few years, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cantab's also asking Solanke, will he get minutes to get him ready for Saturday? You'd expect him to feature. I don't know whether he'll start. I think Billy is alluding. I think I agree with probably Richarlison. You're probably looking at Billy. Would you say that this is pretty much going to be the 11?
Yeah, I would. I'm just not entirely sure about Sarr and Johnson, the 2 question marks. I think Odegaard might start, and I think also Bergvall might start. But I think it's pretty much spot on, yeah. But those 2 question marks there. In fact, I'll go as far as saying I don't think Johnson will start.
Yeah. Who do you reckon out of Odegaard and Tell then? Because I think he prefers Odegaard, but then
I think Odegaard, and then I think we might be starting to see, and it might be something we see later on in the season. Tell more of his number 9, maybe, especially if we get Savinho. I don't think Tell will start many games on the left wing if we have Odegaard. I think Odegaard might start today. Yeah.
And a question for you, mate. While we're talking about left wings, this wasn't part of the show, and I was talking to our guest yesterday, Sam, about it, and that was about the fact that we signed Tell on a permanent, right? And we've obviously got Odegaard, and Frank clearly likes Odegaard. He's played him quite a lot in the pre-season. But also being linked to Savino, all very much left-sided players, left wingers. I mean, you might not be able to answer this, mate, because sometimes you just don't understand the science of Tottenham Hotspur and what they're thinking, and the board are thinking. But for me, the left wing is probably a position where we don't need more quality. Well, maybe we need more quality, but we certainly don't need more numbers, right? we've got low strikers options. We've got Richarlison and Solanke. Lankshire's gone out on loan. A lot of people would argue you need another striker in there of top quality, better than Richarlison. So why do you think, mate, we've gone for Savinho, who's another left winger, to challenge Odobert and Tell? Why?
I think, mate, the answer to that is a problem which we've had a lot of Tottenham Hotspur recently, is that we tend to buy players that aren't quite good enough, and then when you do that, the problem is you then have to buy better players to replace them. And I think maybe, and I'm a big fan of Tell. I think he's a really interesting prospect, amazing mentality, brilliant quotes and interviews. But I'm just wondering whether we signed him permanently just because of the opportunity, rather than thinking it was what our squad needed at the time. Because if we're going to go and sign Savino for 65 million or whatever it is, and that's two players on the left wing that we've signed this season, having already having Odobert there, and Johnson looks like he's going to play there more, because Kudus has got the right-hand side nailed down now. There's no doubt about that, I don't think. And I think maybe sometimes we look for opportunities rather than thinking squad building. And I think Thomas Frank has probably rightly come out and said now we need better on the left, which is why I want to go and sign Savinho. But then you have a lot of bodies in there, and there are other places in the squad where we don't have that many bodies. So I think sometimes we're not so great at squad building, and we're better at taking opportunities just because they were a good deal for us at the time or something like that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised also if we did maybe see Richarlison sold and maybe Tell as our backup striker. That could happen. But yeah, I think I don't think we're historically very good at squad building, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do agree. I think your point about Tell potentially being the striker, and a few people said this in my chat the other day, and I don't know if you've noticed this you're on Twitter quite a lot, mate. People seem to have got on Tell's back quite heavily already. Yeah. Like a lot of Tell hate going on, a lot of he's not good enough, and from what I've seen, mate, it's not been enough. But there's not been enough time. We haven't given him enough time,
and I think have to remember as well. He was kind of like at the time that he joined, it was a really poor 6 months for us in the league, and he was kind of favoured in the league rather than the Europa League, and we were terrible in the league. He was playing in an absolutely dreadful team in the league. Like we lost 11 of those 13 games, whatever it was last season, in the second half of the season. So he was in a really dysfunctional team. He's now got a manager that's probably quite different to Ange, and he'll probably, as an exceptional coach and improver of players, if he can do to Tell what he did to Mbeumo and Whistler and people like that, then there's going to be a serious player there. For me, I think he's one of the most. Remember when we signed him? Like Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United are all linked with him. He's one of the most hot prospects in Europe. So I can see why. I can see the reason why behind we sign him. I just hope now. I think, personally speaking, I think it's crazy to get on a 19, 20-year-old's back like that, especially one that comes out and says the way that he talks about Tottenham Hotspur is the way that I want all of our players to talk about Tottenham Hotspur. So for me, I'm not going to get on his back, and I just hope he has a big season this season.
Sure, mate. No, 100% agree, and that's why I have to tell some people in the chat to calm down, because everyone says Tell's crap and everything else, and I'm just like,
he's 19 years old.
Exactly. I mean, I do have. You can improve finishing over time, especially at that age. Obviously, there is question marks over his finishing. People say, look at that moment against Arsenal. Oh no, it wasn't against us. It was against Newcastle, where it was one-on-one. He did that step over. I mean,
he's got bags of confidence, doesn't he? Bags of confidence, just
yeah. But he was burying them for France under 21s. Like he was absolutely smashing it. But I mean, I've got to say that was a silly decision. But that comes with it. I think a lot of that comes with experience, and people know that on the channel that I kind of sit here and defend Tell and say, look, give him time. Time will tell, is what I
say. I'm a Tell defender as well, mate. I think he's got a big future ahead. I think people have lost sight of the fact that he's a youngster, and I know people get frustrated with Tottenham because we sign a lot of youngsters and they want high quality players, but it's never the youngsters' fault at the end of the day.
100%, mate. 100%. I want to get into what is quite a daunting picture now, which is the Paris Saint-Germain team. Again, guys, this isn't confirmed lineups, but this is predicted lineups courtesy of SofaScore. That is not an ad, by the way. If SofaScore are watching and you want to collab, just let me know. But jokes aside, this starting 11 is daunting. Especially the front, six, plus the fullbacks, arguably some of the best in the world. Hakimi and Mendes, both insane. Pacha and Marquinhos have formed such a formidable partnership at the back. The keeper is obviously up for question because Donnarumma was, of course, their main goalkeeper for the last few years. They've got this Savinho guy, and they've also signed another guy called, I think it's Chevalier. So keeper's up for question. Maybe take some shots, Spurs, see what he's like. But I mean, mate, looking at this lineup, are you worried?
Yeah, I am worried, to put it bluntly. I think that front three is the best in the world by a distance as well.
Yeah.
You've got Hakimi, who is a Ballon d'Or front runner at the moment. I think Dembele and Hakimi are in the top three running for the Ballon d'Or, which says a lot about their quality. I think the only area which you'd look to maybe exploit is maybe I saw someone do like it's kind of classic stuff you see before games. Someone did a combined lineup of Spurs and PSG, and there's only Romero in there for Pacho, I think it was. I would argue maybe the centre backs are the two probably weakest players in the team, and the keeper, as you say. But other than that, there's pretty much a world-class player in every position. Obviously, they've what's the guy's name? Is it Neves, who's suspended?
The young Portuguese midfielder.
Yeah,
he's
he's unbelievable. So that's a bit of a plus. But apparently that Zaire Emery is not someone I'm massively familiar with. Is really highly rated as well. So I don't think that would be much of a weakness for them. But their front three is just, how do you defend against that? It's like so much pace, so much amazing finishing ability, 1v1 ability. I just think they're my favorite team to watch last season in the Champions League, and like no team that they came across could cope with that front three. So it'd be interesting to see how we manage against it.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Guys, let us know. There's a few of you watching across Facebook and YouTube, nearly 100 of you guys watching. We're going to bring you some transfer news as well in a minute. I say transfer news, transfer updates, not many of them, hence why it's not a transfer update video today. And of course, we've got the big game. But before we do move over to maybe briefly talking about Eze and Savinho, and I want to get Billy's thoughts on that. Guys, please smash the thumbs up. It does help the channel out massively. I know I mention it a few times per video. It probably gets annoying, but it does help the algorithm, and it's free to watch. So if you could do me a free favor, that would be absolutely brilliant. Like the video, subscribe if you are new. Comment your thoughts in the chat now. If you're watching on repeat, comments. I mean, if you're watching on repeat, you know the score. But let me know your score predictions now in the comments below, as well as liking and subscribing, and turning those notification bells on. Ring them in the chat. Smashing that like I said. But score predictions, Billy, I'm going to put you on the spot. I want you can do a head prediction and a heart prediction if you want, but I said yesterday, and I never predict losses on this channel because I try and stay positive to an extent, but I do think we are going to lose today. I do think we are. I just can't see past it. What do you think, mate?
I think we're going to lose, but my head will say 3-0 PSG. My heart will say 2-2, and we win on pens, because you got to, as a fan, when you're going into a final like this, you got a dream, right? So that's my dream. I can't, it's such a daunting task to make. Like, I'm not even being negative or not even being pessimistic. We're playing against the best team in the world. Their only hope is that they are not fit. It's the first game back in preseason. They might not be able to play players for 90 minutes. So we do have a slight chance there. That's why my heart is saying maybe we can nick a draw and then win on pens. But anything other than any PSG time up in any semblance of way, and they'll beat us comfortably, as they will do pretty much to any team in the world. So it's not really much to learn from it. But there's always a chance in the final, right? And Romero's never lost a final. Let's put that out there.
That's what I was going to say. That was my next point. I was going to say, new captain Cuti Romero obviously announced today. All the media stuff around Romero being the captain, gave a great interview in English. Everyone was going nuts. He can speak English. He's not just speaking Spanish, which was nice to see. But yeah, Romero's never lost a final, mate. World Cup winner, Europa League winner. What else has he won? He's won cups in Italy as well, right?
And he's won the, what do you call it? Their version of the Euros, the
Copa America.
Copa America. He's won that twice in a row.
So watch out for that, guys. I mean, maybe Cuti Romero is undefeatable in finals, but let us know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm going to go head 3-1 PSG. Heart, I'm going for a penalties win as well. But wouldn't it be nice to see like
you never know, mate. You never know. I thought we'd get smacked by Arsenal in pre-season. We beat them. So you never know with Thomas Frank. He rarely gets thrashed in big games. That's what I'll say about Brentford.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Very true. Okay, let's also, well, there's the it's quite small on my screen. That's the lineups. I mean, when you compare the quality there, is quite mad, to be fair, mate. Like Richarlison against Dembele.
The only thing we got going for us is the back four, right? That's the back four is
Correct.
fine. It's good. It's good back four. And then after that, it gets a bit worrying, mate.
What's your thoughts on? I'll bring it up on this one. What's your thoughts on Spence being a left back? Because I've seen mixed reviews on this. Like I'm a bit undecided. I think he's better at right back, but some people, honestly, I've seen these Lily White Labs coming on the channel before. Kish, I don't know if you know him.
I do know Kish, yeah.
He thinks that Spence is better at left back. Or maybe it may not have been him. Sorry if it wasn't you, Kish. People think he's better at left back, but I was a bit unsure in that one of those games. I think he did well in the Arsenal game, but what was the game we got beaten in? Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich got ripped.
He didn't do great. Yeah. What do you think?
I think he's been a better left back for us, but I think maybe he's not had as many opportunities on the right, just because Porro never gets injured, and as I think Porro is a bit underrated at the moment. I think he's an amazing player. I think he's also improved massively defensively. So I can't see Jed Spence starting on the right back ever, which I think why is maybe some people think that he's a better left back just because he gets more opportunities there. I think he does look good on the left. I also am a massive fan of Udogie. I think Udogie in the last few games of the Europa League was exceptional. So I think it's amazing to have such a good backup in Jed Spence. But make no mistake about it, for me, if we're going into the team full strength, Udogie and Porro will be our left back and right back.
Yeah, for sure, mate. I agree. Udogie was great.
It's a shame he's injured for this, isn't it? It's a bit,
I know.
Maybe the kind of game that would really suit him,
I think. Bill Greenwood saying, "I'm going for a Desmond 2-2 and a win on penalties." That's what you said, wasn't it?
That's what I said as well. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
This isn't your other account, is it?
It might be. Who knows? Not with that signing.
Okay, very quickly, we'll do 5-10 more minutes talking about Eze because I haven't got your thoughts on him, mate. I mean, I'd be surprised if it's negative. I haven't actually put the latest Fabrizio tweet up, although that was the latest one yesterday. Has Fabrizio even tweeted about it? I don't even think he's tweeted about it.
Yeah, no, mate. Can you imagine if I just said, "No, I don't want to sign Eze"? No, I don't rate him. Of course, man. I'm absolutely obsessed with this player. I think he is just. I think. Do you know what? I last at the weekend, I spoke about this yesterday a bit. When we got beat by Bayern Munich and we sold Son, I was really crashing out a bit, man. I was thinking, we've got no star players left in our team. Like, I was looking at the 2017 team, and we had Eriksen, Ali, Kane, Son. I know we made them stars at Tottenham, but still, they were stars by the time they left us. And I'm looking at our team now. We don't have many star players at all. In fact, I would argue that we don't have any at all. So a sign like Eze would be absolutely massive for us, not just because we badly need number 10, but I just think it gives us a bit of star quality as well. And I think if you're a team that's aiming to compete for the Champions League and Premier League, which apparently we are, according to our chairman, then you need players like Eze. I think it'll give the fan base a massive lift. It's the kind of player, someone was saying this on, I think on Last One on Spurs I was watching last night, someone said, he's the kind of player which would make kids go and line up at the club shop and get a shirt with Eze 7 on the back. And we need a lift like that as a club, man. We need a star. And he could be the face of our club because we've lost the face of our club and we're devastated about it. And Eze, I think, would be about as good a replacement as we can likely get.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
I'm obsessed with signing Eze. It's now got to the point where if we don't sign him, I'm going to be devastated, mate.
You're gonna see some tears on Twitter or something, like maybe a profile picture change from that iconic profile picture.
There's no doubt about it.
No, I think I agree. Just quickly give my thoughts. I think your point about us not having a poster boy is correct, and I think this man.
We might have done, mate, because my other favorite player, Maddison, injured. Like that, I think that's would have been his season to take over the reins. But man, sad.
Yeah, I agree. I think Eze is that player. He's a high-profile player, and I quite often use this comparison that Michael Olise, who went to Bayern Munich, I think Eze is genuinely that good. I think Eze could
look what Olise has done this season for Bayern Munich, man. Well, he's in the running for the Ballon d'Or again, isn't he? So
that's what I mean. But like, I genuinely don't even think Eze's a worse player than Olise. I mean, Olise's class. But they came from a very similar mold, right?
Very similar players as well. Very similar.
Exactly. So, like, why can't we do the same and make Eze our version of Olise? It would be class. It'd be what we need. And like you said, Sonny leaving, haven't got Kane anymore. I mean, you go through the years. Like our poster boy going through the years. You got like Bale, then it was Kane, then it was Son, even Modric before that maybe. We don't have that now. Like you said, probably Maddison is the closest person to that player to that. So yeah, I agree. Liam of Glest is saying Billy T face reveal. Liam, honestly, I think you may have missed Billy on about 700 channels this week. So yeah, this is nothing new, but it is for the Spurs-related viewers. But yeah, all good, mate. He's doing the rounds. He's a busy guy. And the other one I wanted to get your thoughts on, Billy, was to do with Savinho, because obviously that was the other link. Apparently we're in talks. I've heard about £55 million bid potentially being rejected, and then City want more in the region of like 70 million euros. Do you think A, he's worth that, and B, do you think he would elevate our left-hand side further? And then what implication does that have for Tel and Odobert, which we were mentioning earlier?
I think he's unquestionably worth it. I was absolutely really excited by this signing again. I think a lot says about it is the fact that one, City they're not really trying to shift him. They would rather keep him than not, which I think says a lot. If Pep Guardiola's trying to keep a player, that says a lot. Best manager of all time and that. And then the fact that their fans are pretty angry about the fact that he might be going as well. A lot of their fans on social media are not happy with it. I think if we manage to sign Savino, I think having Kudus and Savino on the left and right wing is an absolute nightmare for defenders, and it just completely changes the whole face of our team. If you look at when you were showing earlier, the PSG lineup versus the Tottenham lineup, where's the fear coming from for PSG of our lineup? There's none there, is there? But suddenly, if you've got Savino on one wing and Kudus on the other wing, it's a completely different ballgame, mate. And if you add Eze to that as well, then happy days. I think he's easily worth that kind of money. He's only 21. I know people have pointed to the fact that he scored one goal in the Premier League last season, but if you look at historically wingers at Man City, they don't tend to score many goals because of the Pep system. They tend to get a lot of assists, which he did get a lot of assists for Haaland in particular. I think his take on stats are up there the best in the league, along with Kudus. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I'd absolutely love to sign him. And I think when I think about going to watch Tottenham play live in the stadium, I think the best times I've done that and having Gareth Bale on one wing, Aaron Lennon on the other. And that's, for me, that's what football's all about. So if we can have two wingers, I'm not saying they're as good as those two necessarily, but just having two pacey wingers like that, that's the kind of football that I like to see, mate.
I agree. And I think Kudus hasn't he even said that he likes to be the player that gets people off their seat, very much like Aaron Lennon. When you're at the White Hart Lane back in the day and you heard that thud of all the seats, thudding of people getting off them.
We don't have many players like that anymore, mate. We don't have many players that when they get the ball, everyone stands. I love it in the stadium. When someone gets the ball, everyone stands up. Aaron Lennon used to do it. Son used to do it. Now we've lost Son now, so let's get another one.
Yeah, agreed, mate. And I mean that front three with obviously
we can somehow do that, mate. And that's the kind of ambition that I've wanted this club to show for a very long time, and that would be actually doing it for once. So I think it's just a shame that we haven't been a bit more prepared and done it before one of the biggest games in our history. But if we manage to get those two over the line, I think the entire mood around the club changes completely, right?
Sure, 100%. You said about best take on stats, progressive carries, most progressive carries for under 21 players in the top 7 leagues. He's top over Yamal.
Officially better than Yamal, then. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, heads on Mars, mate. Better than Fofana, better than Gittins, all very good players. Interesting. What I wanted to ask you, I guess, is probably the hardest question I've asked you so far in this stream is, we talked about Eze, we talked about Savino. I think, again, I've been pretty busy today. I don't think there's been an update since yesterday. Do you think this is going to happen? And do you think there'll be an absolute meltdown if we get neither?
I've been fluctuating all day. Yesterday morning in particular, especially after that midnight, the 2 a.m. bomber that we got on Twitter, and Paul O'Keefe dropped it about Eze. I was really confident that we get both. I think as time goes on, I start to get a bit more worried, and that's just natural, right, as football fans. And the Morgan Gibbs-White transfer has done like permanent damage to my confidence. So now I'm like, unless they're in Tottenham holding the shirt, I'm not going to get super confident. But at the same time, I think it's come too far now that if we don't do it, fans are going to be absolutely fuming. If we line up on Saturday, or if we line up next weekend at Man City with none of those players in our team, I think fans are going to be absolutely fuming. So I think they've gone too far. I think they shot themselves in the foot now, and they have to get them over the line. I'm actually quietly confident that they will. And I think if they do manage to get both of them, our club is going to have a boost like we haven't seen for a very long time. Everyone knows I'm very skeptical of our board, but if they do that, then hands up. That's all we've ever wanted, right? 2 players like that join in. Have 4 players this summer that would then improve the 11 in Palhinha, Kudus, as a Savinho, probably be the best window in my lifetime, mate.
Yeah, no, I agree. It has potential. At the moment, it's probably a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10
I
window.
agree.
But with those two
3 or 4
players,
out of 10.
it'd
Especially
be 9
considering
out
we're
of
playing
10.
Burnley in 3 days, mate, and we've only signed 2 players. That
Yeah,
proves you never.
absolutely. Just in terms of an update, the Spurs Watch just tweeted saying, according to David Ornstein via the Athletic podcast, that neither Tottenham or Arsenal are prepared to pay the fee that Crystal Palace would be looking for at this moment to do the deal for Eze. It is around 68 million. So it seems like Arsenal and Tottenham are reluctant on this 68 million pounds release clause. I think that release clause expires at the end of the week, unless I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, Friday, definitely tomorrow. Yeah, Friday.
But I think regardless,
Friday,
Palace will still want around that fee. Like I can't imagine Palace turning around and going, yeah, just give us 40, 50 million for him. They're going to want like 60 something million, no?
Yeah, I think so, mate, because they've proved over the last few years that they're really tough negotiators. They didn't sell Gahey to Newcastle last season. They didn't sell Eze to us last season. They've held firm. If you remember a few years back, they held firm for Elise and Chelsea as well. And that was apparently when Chelsea met the release clause for Elise too. So they're really tough at negotiating. You have to think about the club. They've just lost out on European football in the same way that they thought they were getting. So they're going to be down in that way. And the fact is with Premier League clubs now, no one really needs the money that much anymore. The TV money is so big that unless Crystal Palace unless we pay the money, then they're not going to sell him. So I have absolutely no hard time believing that whatsoever. And I think if we are a big club, we just need to go and pay the release clause.
Absolutely, mate. I completely agree. I'm trying to work out when the lineups are out. Do you reckon it's at 7 or 6:45?
I know the Premier League one's an hour and 15, aren't they? I don't know about Europe.
Yeah, I thought the European ones were an hour and a half. That's why I was surprised it's not out yet. But what I'll do is I'll wait 3 minutes, and if they're not out, we'll end up. Is that all right? I wanted to just bring up for those that are joining. I can see the numbers are joining. Everyone's been anticipated about the game. I wanted, Billy, your thoughts on this man and what's happened based on what Thomas Frank said in the press conference. Obviously, Basuma getting left behind due to him being late too many times and there being a consequence for that. Do you think he'll be out the door as well as Richarlison, mate? And do you think he should be the first one out the door?
I think so, yeah. I think it's really, really disappointing because it's not happened once or twice. It's happened 3 or 4 times now under 3 or 4 different managers. Obviously, Postecoglou, when he first joined, he mentioned it in one of his first press conferences that Basuma was late, and he said he took him under his arm and said, you can be a real leader for these young players. And then obviously we've had the things with balloons, we've had the things where even on the pitch, he got 2 red cards in that season, was banned for 4 games. So it's unacceptable at this point, and there's simply no future for him left at Tottenham, in my opinion, which I think is a real shame because the run-in for the Europa League showed that this guy is a really talented player when he wants to turn up, but he sadly clearly does not have the dedication or the mentality to do it. So I can't see anything other than a Spurs exit. What about you, mate?
Yeah, I agree, mate. I think you're spot on. I think your point about it being a shame is also spot on because I think the Basuma we got from Brighton was a top player. Like he was on the caliber of what everyone's describing Belabor at now. He's like mustard, and we got him for a pretty good deal. I think we only paid like 30 or 40 mil for him.
Yeah, 26, I think in the end. Yeah.
26, even better. Yeah. And it was like, wow, like we could either make this guy an absolute star in our team, or we're going to sell him on for a bigger fee. And it looks like
when he first joined, he was incredible, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah, he was. But now we're going to lose money on him, probably, mate.
Well, apparently, I saw Paul O'Keefe tweet that we're looking for 13 million for him at the moment. So
13. I mean, this is. I want to get your thoughts, mate, as well, just before we wrap things up and hopefully see the lineups. Someone's saying it's an hour before. Big up yourself, Ad. You're always in here, mate. I really appreciate you joining. What's your thoughts on Spurs as a selling club? Because as in our selling business, because I think there's a problem there, and I'll give you the reason why. Because essentially, when we buy players, we are selling them on for a minimal fee, or we're not selling players at the right time where we can get value out of them, right? And you look at Chelsea, Broja got sold the other day for about 30 million, and that other striker they rarely play also got sold for a ridiculous fee. So how come Chelsea can do it and other clubs can do it where they sell players when they're not wanted and they get money out of it and they can then reinvest and spend more money? Why is it Spurs can't do that, mate? And I know your opinion about the board, and I'm aware of that. So, sugarcoat this how you want, but for me, say whatever you want. Yeah, the show is yours, kind of thing. But I think that's a problem. Do you not agree?
Yeah, I think I just don't think we're ruthless enough, to be honest with you. I think we don't have that kind of mentality that Chelsea, Man United, and other clubs have, where if you're not good enough, we're going to sell you whatever. We never seem to say that to players. We always seem to keep them around, keep them happy. Now, Richarlison is a good example. I think Richarlison is an incredible person. He had an incredible, good game in the final. But I think he's proven over the last few years that A, he's not reliable with fitness, and B, he's not quite good enough for the level that we want to be. So I think a ruthless club would have already transfer listed him at the beginning of the summer and say, you don't have a future here. Whereas Tottenham, because we're so bad in the transfer market both ways, we don't have Solanke injured. We have Solanke injured, sorry. So we have to play you at Richarlison in all of our games. And that means it's unlikely that we're even going to be able to sell him. So, and Basuma is another example of that. I just don't think we're quite ruthless enough as a football club to get rid of these players. And that is a reason why they're hanging around for too long and end up either paying to terminate their contracts or getting rid of them on like 5 or 6 loans and then get them for free. We're just a really bad selling club.
How many, you mentioned about Richarlison there, how many seasons ago would you have sold Richarlison?
Probably, because of his fitness, I think he had to go a good 2 years ago, maybe, or have looked the last summer before that, just because he's never had a full season for us fitness wise. So I would have been looked to move him on for that reason, because I think Thomas Frank said this himself, or someone did. Availability is one of the best attributes you can have as a footballer, and he has not been available anywhere near enough.
True. Isn't it like 28% he's played 28% of minutes since he's been here? In the Premier League.
And he's actually got a decent goal scoring record in those 28%. I think his goals per 90 minutes is up there with the best in the league, but it's just a sad fact that you have to be. We need players that are available, especially if we're playing 2 games a week, mate.
Yeah. And just quickly on Maddison, because a lot of people call him Mad a third injured, a third insane, and a third whatever the other one is, third crap. I mean, do you think we should have sold him? I mean, it's easy to say now. I know you said you're a big James Maddison fan, but the fact he's approaching 30, had injury problems, very injury prone. What do you think about his future now, mate?
I think it's a really tricky one, because I think he's an absolutely unbelievable player. I think he's massively underrated. I don't buy into that and think that he is only good for a third of the games, because last season showed that when I've always thought with Tottenham, especially under Postecoglou, that unless Maddison is playing and playing well, then Tottenham don't tend to play well. I think he's incredibly important for us, and I'd really worry unless we sign someone else now without him in the team, because I think he's so important for us. The big question mark over him, of course, is his fitness, and I think 30 years old now, or whatever it is, close to 30, ACL injury. I think sadly I can't really see much of a way forward for him, especially with Kulusevski playing as a 10. And if we do sign someone like Eze, then I think he's going to go fall down the pecking order. It's just really sad for me, mate, because I think this would have been a breakout season for him, because no Son, he probably could have arguably been made captain over Romero and been a real face of the team. So it's just the injury has come at the worst possible time, and I think he'll probably might leave us next summer now, which is a real shame.
Sure, absolutely, mate. The lineups have just come out. And I agree with you what you're saying about Maddison there, mate. Completely agree. It is a massive shame. I'm going to bring up this on the screen. I've only done this twice before, so apologies if I mess up. But I'm going to share my screen.
I'm trying to see the team now. I can't see the.
Sorry, I'll bring on screen, mate.
I won't say anything, but wow, it's a bit of a shock, right?
Yeah. Here we go. Right.
Wow. I'll let you read it first, but there you go.
Yeah. So Vicario in goal, obviously Porro, Romero, Danzo.
Back 5.
Van der Ven.
Big shock. That's the big shock, mate. I was looking for Johnson or Tell or Odebear, and none of them are there, mate.
Wow. 5 at the back.
5-3-2, I think. Or 5-5. What's it?
So hang on, mate. Is this 5-3-2 then?
Must
Kudus, Richarlison up front, right? Kudus and Richarlison up front.
Bentancur, Palhinha, Sarr in midfield, yeah.
Yeah, it must be 5-3. Is that that's negative, isn't it? What do you think?
Yeah, it is. But then I guess to to give that a bit of credit, we are playing against PSG, so maybe he's just going to go for it. But wow, I did not see that coming, mate. I did not see that coming.
Well, there you go, guys. What do you think of that lineup? Bloody hell. Someone's asking, I thought this was Chris Cowlin. No, Stephen, this is not Chris Cowlin. I'm just going to bring that up bigger. I think
I was looking for Johnson, or how we were just saying Johnson,
Yeah.
Odegaard, but no, none of them. They're on the bench, and that's good.
Yeah, I mean, this is the bench. Kinski, Austin, classic 2 goalies there. What? How many other teams play 2 goalies? I think it's crazy.
in a cup final as well.
Davies, Vuskovic, obviously not been moved on yet, but apparently going to be going on loan to Hamburg. Didn't even get your thoughts on that, Billy, because I think that's a bit of a weird move. I think he really, really impressed. We thought he was going to be really in the mix. I mean, he's going to Hamburg, it looks like. But Byfield, that's quite a cool one to have in the in the mix, a youngster. Gray, Berger, it's a very young bench. But look at this for a Super Cup bench, mate. Other than Davies, you've got Vuskovic, 18 years old. 18, Byfield, how old is he?
I think he's 16.
16. He's our new talented youngster. This everyone's raving about. Gray, 20 years old. Bergvall, what's he? 19. Odegaard,
19.
Tell,
20.
Johnson
22.
Older.
And Solanke obviously is in his prime, but still, that's a very young bench, isn't it, mate?
I mean, interesting. Stephen, I don't think Spence is playing left wing. I think this is a 5-3-2. I'm pretty sure. Billy, do you agree?
I think so, yeah. Or a 3-5-2, whichever way you call it. But yeah. I think he's going to go back. I can't quite figure it out, but unless he's playing Kudus up front. But yeah, wow. I did not see that coming, to be honest, mate. It's definitely 5 at the back. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, 5 at the back.
I can't quite figure out the way he's going to play the rest of them. Maybe 5-4-1 might be that'd be ultra defensive, right?
5-4-1. So you're going Paulinho, Bentancur, Kudus,
and then
Sarr.
And Sarr, but that doesn't even work either because Sarr's not a winger, so it must be 5-3-2.
Well, I mean, Sarr's played the 10. Maybe he's trying him on the left, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my god. I mean, that's put me a bit. I mean, I agree at this point, trusting Frank, but
yeah,
I mean, there is going to be some generational head losses on Twitter later, mate. I can already feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, if we lose, it will be why did we go 5 at the back? Negative Frank. I probably could see some memes of like Conte, like the mask with Conte over it, and they reveal and it's Frank. You know what I mean? Porro right wing, Spence left wing. Surely not. What? So 5 at the back? Yeah, but that is essentially
wing backs.
Right?
Wing backs. Yeah, wing backs.
Yeah, wing backs. Yeah.
But then who's he playing up front with Richarlison then? Kudus maybe.
It has to be Kudus, right?
Yeah.
Spence left wing back, Porro right wing back, Romero, Danzo, Van der Ven in the middle with Danzo,
and then Kudus and Richarlison up front. Wow.
That is not 4-3-3. That is not 4-3-3. Van der Ven is left back. No,
he's not going to play Spence on the wing. It's just.
I'll see if I can get another. I'll see if I can get what. I'll see if I can get what Sofa Scores put it, and then we'll wrap things up. I know you appreciate you. I said only 30, 40 minutes to you, mate. And I'll let you go. Yeah. So Sofa Score put it down as a 5-3-2, like we said. Kudus and Richarlison up front. Bentancur, Paulinho, and Sarr in the middle. Spence left wing back. Porro right wing back. Romero right centre back, Van der Ven left centre back, Danzo centre back, Vicario in goal. That's got to be it. It's got to be it. I mean, I guess it's fluid as well because when he played that formation with Brentford, and Buemo was fluid, Schade was fluid, and so was Visser, right? So we might see Porro playing up there more. Who out of the 3 in the midfield, mate? Paulinho, Bentancur, Sarr. You'd imagine Sarr will get more forward, right?
Yeah, and then they'll probably sit those 2 in front of the defence and go ultra defensive, I think.
So it's basically 7-2-1.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Maybe a 10-1, mate. It might be
yeah. Massively on the break. Yeah, it's going to be counter-attacks if we get a chance today, guys. J-Med saying.
Let's hope. Let's see.
3-5-2. All right, guys.
You're up against the best attack in the world, so you've got to do something, right?
100%, mate. 100%. Well, listen, that was a bit of a surprise at the end. Guys, let us know in the comments below if you're watching on repeat. what you think of that lineup, what you think of the game. We'll be back again very soon. Hope you all enjoy the game. Remember, keep the faith, keep positive until it really hits the fan. Stuff really goes wrong. Remember, it's the Super Cup. It's a free hit. We could win some silverware, or we could go into the season Saturday with a bit more experience behind us, I guess, as a team. Don't forget, they're all trying to gel. Palhinha is very new to this team. Kudu's very new to this team. Hopefully, we then get a result against Burnley either way. But guys, Bill's saying, I think Spence will be doing a lot of running and Van der Ven with his pace filling, covering the left side. Yeah. I think he's got an awful lot to do against, they've got Barcola. That's one thing I didn't mention. So the PSG lineup, they've gone Barcola rather than oh my God, mate. On the bench. No, mate. They've got Doué, Barcola, Dembele, and Kvaratskhelia. So they've basically gone 4-2-4, no?
Yeah. Well, they've got a front four, we've got a back five. So let's see how it goes.
And they've got that new, I'll just share it 1 second. They've got that new keeper in goal. I don't know if you know much about him, Billy.
No, I don't. But I know that he was quite highly rated. But I guess it must be quite good to get rid of Donnarumma, right?
Yeah, here you go. Chevalier, I think he came from Lille. Hakimi right back, Marquinhos centre with Pacho.
In the 4-3-3, yeah.
But look at that. That's terrifying. That's more terrifying than the one I brought up earlier.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully see some minutes for Solanke as well in there. Yeah. Good luck, guys. Exactly that. Gonna hide behind the sofa. I'm sure me and Billy will be doing the same in a minute. But Billy, really appreciate you coming on today. Before I get people to go and follow you, I mean, you've probably got more followers than anyone on Twitter. But please, guys, like the video. That really helps me out massively. I think there's only a few likes on this video. I'd really appreciate you to get it to 100 likes. Subscribe if you are new. Turn the noti bells on. Get your comments in. Also, if you want to become a Spurs-related member, that is in the description below. We're going to be doing member shows and getting fans coming on, discussing their opinions throughout the season, which will be great fun. And I'm also going to be there at the game on Saturday, interviewing some fans outside the stadium. So let me know if you'll be there. But Billy, where can people find you, mate? And thank you again for coming on.
Pleasure, man. I'd love to be on again. It's been a really, really fun one. And just Billy_T on Twitter. And then hopefully the next time I speak to you, mate, we'll be double European champions.
Exactly, mate. No, I'd love to have you back on. That would be class. And yeah, guys, get over there if you don't follow Billy already. I'm sure most of you do. But yeah, hopefully see some absolutely generational tweets later about being double European champions. Here's to hoping. But guys, really appreciate all the support today. As I said, like, subscribe, as Stephen's done. You're all legends. Comment your thoughts. And I'll see you very soon back on Spurs Related. Remember, as always, come on, you Spurs!